Marriage is not for all people, but you have these people who are obsessed with marriage and weddings, and they think everybody's going to get married. They think it's meant for them, but marriage is not for everyone. Just because you see someone else's getting married does not mean it will be perfect in your relationship or in their relationship either. So, just because you see famous people on the tabloids getting married or getting divorced doesn't mean the same things are going to happen necessarily to you in the same way. But you have heard that, you know, people do, even famous people go through their problems. You're single, you're free, then you decide later down the road you want to get married. You still have all your single friends. So you feel like your life's going to change because now you have this marriage contract. And some people will say, oh, marriage is a contract. And some people will be together in relationships and they say, as soon as they get married, oh, wow, I didn't know it was going to be this serious. Well, guess what? Marriage is serious because you are making a commitment to one person. Maybe you're happy with the idea of marriage because you're thinking about, oh, who's coming to my wedding? Some people are obsessed with weddings. They just, oh, I can't wait to wear this dress. I'm going to get married on the beach, or I'm going to go to the Bahamas and get married. And they get all obsessed about what they're going to wear, what color they're going to wear, how their hair and their nails are going to look. But they don't realize that some people are successful at being married, but this is not everyone. Marriage takes work, dedication, and it's not for everyone. Not everyone is perfect at being a couple and being married. We see other people, some people seem successful, some people want to use that as a model for them. Maybe that works for some people, but unfortunately it doesn't work for all. And then some people, maybe they can be married for a little while, but after a while their opinions, their life starts changing, and they feel like this is not for me. Some people get married and it becomes a disaster, and some people feel trapped in marriage. Marriage is a responsibility. It is a partnership. It's best when both of you are ready to make commitments. Being trapped is not fun. If you get married to somebody and you feel like you're trapped, you're with somebody controlling, you might want to think about those things because you could end up being with somebody who might be emotionally abusive or physically and emotionally and take you through a lot of roller coaster mood swings and drama. Make long-term commitments, not long-term promises that you can't keep. Sex is not the only part of marriage, people. What kind of person did you marry? Do you know who you're married to? And can you picture yourself with that person 5, 10, 20 years down the road? People often misconstrue, oh, it's going to be champagne bubbles and caviar and lovely dresses and lovely tuxedos, and our marriage is going to be perfect. We're going to have a picket fence and this beautiful house and these beautiful children, and it doesn't always turn out like what you anticipated. Maybe some of that happens, but not all of that happens, or maybe some of the times turns out to be that way or feels like that, but then there's other problems that come up. People could get sick. Your kids might come out with a disability. I'm not trying to be mean, but that happens to some people. There's autism, and then parents tend to blame one another. Well, maybe it's somebody in your family. No, maybe it's somebody in your family. You got to think about all these things. Money is involved, in-laws. Learn to agree that you may not agree on everything. Don't try to be the winner of every argument. Everybody is not perfect. They have flaws. No one stays the same forever. Be realistic about people. Everyone will get old at some point in their life. What you look like in your 20s and your 30s, you're not going to look like in your 50s, 60s, and 70s. Be realistic, guys. Be realistic, females, women. He's probably not going to look the way he did when you first met him, and she is definitely not going to look the way she did either. Maybe people will grow old gracefully, and then maybe things happen in people's life. They could get sick, they could have an illness, But this is no reason to become abusive and start hurting one another. If you're in a relationship that you feel threatened and you're afraid to go home, or you're afraid around your partner or your spouse, your husband, your wife, then you need to find help. You need to figure out how to get out of that. It's not easy for everybody. Some people feel trapped, like I said, in these abusive relationships. People will make excuses for who they're involved with. Some of it is because they really love that individual, but that person is not giving you the same love in return. So it becomes emotionally draining and abusive. And it could go both ways. It could be both people are abusing each other, and then it could be just one of the partners are abusive. Then there could be different types of relationships. There's interracial couples, bisexual couple, people of different sexual orientation and what have you, but they could still have a couple relationship with someone. And there's a lot in relationships. These new relationships that, well, really they aren't new, that we're hearing about, and there's a whole myriad of issues, political issues behind that. But all in all, people can be abused or in an abusive relationship. It could be a man, it could be the woman, it could be both parties can be abused. So here, men can be victims too. 1 in 4 women will be a victim of domestic abuse in her lifetime, and 1 in 7 males will be a victim of domestic abuse in his lifetime. So some people will make excuses, and sometimes you can't make too many excuses because the evidence is there. You can see when somebody's walking around with black eyes. How many excuses can you make for someone like that? Oh, I fell. So you fell and you blackened your eye. That doesn't happen to everybody like that. A lot of times people make excuses for their abuser because they feel afraid to leave them. They've been threatened. They think that their life's in more danger if they leave them. It can be mild to severe abuse, to where you feel trapped to the point to where now you feel like you're afraid for your kids' lives. You're afraid for not only your life, you're afraid for your family's life. Maybe your abuser is threatening you with, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill the kids, or I'll take the kids away from you. It could be any number of things. Maybe he's making fun of how you look. You don't look like you did when you were 20-something, 30-ish something. Okay, so time has went by, you've changed, you've had some kids, and you're not the way you looked in the beginning. But if you're with somebody who's superficial and they don't like you for you and they don't love you for you, then it's not your problem, it's their problem. Marriage is not for everyone. You gotta remember that. Be ready. When you're getting married, marriage is commitment. It's a partnership. It's about love. It's about trust. It's about respect. And if you don't feel any of those things, then it's time to reevaluate. Are you really ready to be married? Because marriage is not for all.